that invasion of Russia that you're talking about is not what you think it is.
Oh, here we go.
So
yes, we haven't had a general Sachs update in a while. I actually want to hear your take on this, Sachs. Like, what is
talk about the humiliation of Putin? Yeah, tell us.
Yeah, what is the real story with the Ukraine counter invasion into Russia?
I think you're falling for a lot of hype. I mean, what's happening is that the stage of the war is that the fighting is in the Donbass and along a 1,200 kilometer front in Ukraine, where the Russians have just been pounding the Ukrainians. The Russians have more soldiers, they have more artillery, they have more air power, and they have air superiority. And they've just been annihilating the Ukrainians. I mean, Ukrainian casualties, according to some sources, are somewhere between 30,000 and 60,000 a month. It's massive and unsustainable. So what Zelensky did is he basically threw this Hail Mary where he took some of their best forces, their best reserves, and had them attack this undefended part of Russia, Kursk. And yeah, they took a few hundred miles of undefended territory, but there's nothing strategically important there. And now Russian air power is basically creating significant casualties among those forces. And the Ukrainian forces are now trying to figure out what to do. I mean, they're basically running around this part of Russia like headless chickens, trying to figure out where they can dig in and find some defensive fortifications. I don't know what Zelensky's trying to accomplish. I guess it's kind of a PR offensive. A lot of people have been fooled into thinking that this is somehow a game changer in the war. It's not. All Zelensky has really done is take some of his best troops away from where the strategically important fighting is, have them attack this part of Russia, and over time, Russia's just going to mop them up. Did the Russians get caught with their pants down? Yeah, I guess they did. Is that an embarrassment to Putin? I guess it can be spun that way. Does it change the outcome of this war in any way? No, it's not. And what we're on track for is, at some point, probably next year, Ukraine is going to collapse. I mean, their position in this war is unsustainable. And taking some of their top troops, feeding them into Kursk, where they can be easily picked off by the Russians, is only going to accelerate that process.
And then, Sachs, what about Nord Stream? What we just found out about Nord Stream.
Well, the Nord Stream story is very strange because we're on our third or fourth explanation here of what happened. I mean, it was pretty clear that somehow the U.S. was behind it. And they've been blaming, first they said that the Russians did it, right? Which makes no sense. That'd be like the Russians shooting their own legs off. That was the first cover story. Then they kind of went with, I guess Zelensky did it from a yacht. I guess that's the story they're on now.
Yeah, the Wall Street Journal report, just to give people the background of why we're talking about this, the Wall Street Journal reported that Germans' investigation into this, the people who were impacted by it. Here's the quote: "The whole thing was born out of a night of heavy boozing and the iron determination of a handful of people who had the guts to risk their lives for the country. The Ukraine operation cost around $300,000, according to people who participated in it, while the small rented yacht with a 6-member crew, including trained civilian divers. One was a woman whose presence helped create the illusion they were a group of friends on a pleasure cruise." So you're saying you don't believe that German report?
Well, no. So this report about that yacht being used and how Zelensky was like the mastermind of this.
Yeah.
That report is not anything new. This has been out for, I don't know, at least 6 months. I've always been skeptical about this. The thing to understand about the Nord Stream pipeline is that it was a massive structure surrounded by huge amounts of concrete on the ocean floor. And blowing this thing up required some significant expertise in underwater demolition. I'm just very skeptical that could be accomplished by 6 guys on a yacht under Zelensky. I mean, the Ukrainians have never had a navy. This just doesn't seem like something that's in their wheelhouse of capabilities. It always made more sense to me that the U.S. was involved somehow.
But how do you think an article this detailed that points to the Dutch intelligence community, the German intelligence community, American how does an article like this with this much detail then get written and put into the Wall Street Journal? How does that happen?
I think intelligence sources want it to happen. I mean, they have to get their sources from somewhere, right? And I'm just saying that this story about Zelensky and the yacht this is not new. This has been out there for many months. Look, I mean, it could be true. I mean, I guess I don't know for sure, but I guess I'm also just saying that I'm a little bit skeptical about this. I mean, Seymour Hersh had other reporting from different sources who claimed that the U.S. was behind it. And President Biden himself at a press conference said that if Russia invades Ukraine, we will bring an end to the Nord Stream 2 pipeline. And when a reporter asked him, how will you do that? He said, we have ways. We'll get it done. And similarly, Victoria Nuland warned at a press conference that Nord Stream 2 will not move forward if Russia invades. And then lo and behold, the pipeline gets blown up. And if you're comparing which of these two forces has the capability to do something like this, I know for sure that the U.S. does. Ukraine, I'm just a little more skeptical of.
Just to give you some facts, to introduce some facts here, it was only 260 feet or so down where they blew it up. I've dove to 130, 140 feet many times. You can easily dive 300, 400, 500 feet. This is not difficult. I could dive to 260 feet with, 1 day of training, and I've done half of that, and I've only dived 25 times in my life. So this is easily accomplished, Sachs. And so this sounds like it's dead on. I mean, I know you don't
Diving?
want to.
What about the explosives?
Yeah, it's very simple. I mean, you're literally attaching it to a pipe and you hit boom. These people are the Ukraine people are.
I think it
hold
required
on, in the face
a massive
of
amount of explosives to do something like this.
no, it does not. In the face of Ukraine defending itself against Russia, one of the greatest militaries on the planet, this idea that same group of people who have held Russian at bay for 2 years plus can't go down 260 feet and blow it up is ridiculous. They could easily do this. This is not a difficult task. Super easy for the Ukraine army to do this.
I don't think you're in a position to know. I don't think you're in a position to know.
Because I have facts. 260 feet down, I've dove to 130. It's very easy to go 260. The end.
That's your facts.
I mean, it's just called reality, Chamath. I'm sorry. Sachs is the most biased person in the world when it comes to this. It's hysterical to hear him frame it.
Jason, what you just said was, here are the facts. It's 260 feet down. I've gone to half that, so it's possible. So they did it. That's what you just said.
No. He's saying it's too. Sax's premise is this is beyond the capability of the Ukraine army. That's ridiculous, Sax.
A lot of people think that.
Well, a lot of people are dumb. Then it is the stupidest concept.
You're also an explosive expert as well as
I'm an expert at watching the
diver.
Ukraine.
No. He
Russia's
once bought some firecrackers,
fight
so
them
he knows
back.
what he's talking about there as well.
Dude, I bought pineapples. That's a quarter stick of dynamite when I was in Brooklyn.
You think 6 guys on a yacht did this?
Easily.
Okay.
6 Ukrainians. These are hardcore mofos. You think these Ukrainians are not hardcore? They probably did it drunk. They did it drunk. I bet you they were half in the bag when they blew that shit up. That's why Russia can't beat them. I've
also read the Seymour Hersh story, and it just makes a lot more sense to me. That's all I'm going to say is it just makes a lot more sense to me. And by the way, I've never taken away anything from the Ukrainians as a fighting force. I mean, clearly they are fighting bravely, and they are hardcore. I've never taken that away from them. And I'm certainly not saying that they're incompetent or anything like that. And they've definitely been massively plussed up by American weapons.
And you'd like to see them win versus Russia and get Russia out of their country, right?
I would like to see America stay out of other people's wars, and I would have liked to have seen them agree to a peace deal that would have avoided this war.
Okay. Who would you rather wins the war, Russia or Ukraine, if you had to pick? Who would you rather see win?
It's not my war. I don't think America should take sides in other people's wars. I think we should stay out of them, and I think we should agree to peace deals when we can and not sabotage those peace deals.
Yeah, I'm for peace deals too. I'm also for democracies beating autocracies. Okay, everybody, this has been another amazing episode.
So let's get canceled elections.